hope that everyone is on the edge of their seat, ready to hear what a donor wants. We are here to give you this lifelong secret, right? We all want to know what a donor wants so that we can bring them along with us, right? I can tell you one thing they probably don't want, and that is just a transaction. We talk a lot about building relationships, right? And I think that will be a common theme through today's session. So with that, on to the next slide, please, Jake. Okay, so drum roll. A donor wants C-PACT. I bet everyone knew that, right? And we can stop right there. C-PACT. If you can figure it out, everyone's going to make millions, right? C-PACT. Let's break that down for a second. Really, really great way to break this down. And hopefully this will help you with a formula to increase your connectivity with donors, to increase donor retention, bring along new people, all the good things, all the things that we know make us successful. So what does C-PACT stand for? First and foremost, connection, right? We talk about having connectors and the importance of that, because that's where it all starts, right? If we think back to the pandemic, when we very first started our virtual forums, it connected us, right? We were all isolated in places. We were all scared about what was happening. But when we were able to connect, albeit virtually at that time, right? It was, wow, it made such a difference. I think about that as such a big symbolic representation of what people are craving in life, and in philanthropy is no different, right? So connection first and foremost. And as we kind of break that down, we give them purpose. We provide them with acceptance. We utilize communication to keep them connected. I can't tell you the number of times I had to tell people, pick up the phone and call people, but it's uncomfortable. I don't know what to say. We're in the very beginning, right? When we were, holy cow, we're isolated. We don't know what to do. We're kind of feeling very, very stuck. And I'm always like, pick up the phone and ask how they're doing, right? Let's communicate. Utilize communication to connect with our people, right? And then through connection, we're establishing a desirable tribe for them to join. Who likes to give to an organization that they don't want to be affiliated with? Anyone? No, right? We want to connect. We want to be part of their tribe. We want to make that difference. So if we keep the C-PACT as kind of our theme throughout this, we're looking at connection, purpose, acceptance, communication, and a tribe. Next slide, please. So let's break down connection just a little bit, right? A relationship in which a person, thing, or idea is linked or associated with something else. So we're looking at the connection between a donor and a cause, a donor and a person within our cause, right? A donor and an organizational mission. Our mission, we have to connect to their heart, right? If we don't have a good mission and they don't want to be a part of it, we lose that opportunity to connect. So we have to find a way to dovetail our mission into where their heart is. Stories are a great way to do that, right? We utilize individuals that they know and trust as a connector to get us to that space where they can be willing and able and ready to receive our message and understand our mission so that they can connect with it. Our need, right? We want to connect our need with their resources. When we are inspiring people to give to our cause, we convey the need. And we are saying, we need your resources to help us so that we can fulfill our mission and address this need, right? So our tribe, their membership, right? Be a part of this group of people who are already in belief in the mission, right? We always want to go forth with a base of donors and say, we've got a tribe, join us as part of this. We believe in this. You should come and join us. And when we are able to connect with people in that way, versus like, okay, here's a need, give to this transaction, right? But we've got a need, we've got a mission that's heartstring feeling, and we've got people who are already excited about this. Join us in support of whatever this is, but also because you want to be a part of good company with others, right? So some people really latch on to the project, and that's awesome. other people really latch on to the connection and the sense of being. And so we want to like tap all sides of that for the most effective ask, right? So we want to get our mission to connect to their heartstrings, the need to connect with their resources, because that actually is an important piece. We can't forget that, right? And our tribe, and them wanting to be a member of our tribe. So the relationship, when a person is associated with something else, we want to connect with people, bring them into our fold, help them make a difference in the world. And y'all, these are things that are deeply ingrained in us as humans, right? We want to connect with people, regardless of if you think that you're an introvert or you're a homebody. You want to ultimately connect with people. And this goes back for those, how many of you out there attended PDI this year? Jake gave an amazing psychology of giving presentation. And he really broke it down into the like history of why we want to connect, because back many generations ago, when people would connect, it was survival of the fittest, right? If we could all come together and work together, we would survive longer. So like in evolution, that has become a thing. So innately, deeply ingrained in us is that desire to be connected. And so we have to lean into that, and we have to find ways to make it meaningful for our prospects and our donors and our volunteers, right? To want to stay a part and connected with our cause and with the individuals that are already a part of it. Next slide, please, Jake. So kind of what I was saying, as human beings, we are wired to desire connection. We actually crave it. And if we're all honest with ourselves, regardless of introvert, extrovert, all the things, we do crave a connection. It can look different for everyone. And so we have to find the way to connect that's the most meaningful. But we are hardwired to crave connection. These emotions are powerful, right? And that can satisfy our donors to keep them coming back for more. We know that if we can get people in the habit of giving to our organization year after year, or to making a multi-year commitment where they're on their pledge and staying connected, that we can then steward them and continue to deepen that relationship. That gives us the track and the ability to help them maximize their impact that they're having on the world. It's good for them, it's good for us. And those powerful emotions that we are able to satisfy along the way is what helps keep people coming back and helping them wanting to be a part of it, right? Who likes to be around a negative person all the time? You know, you don't keep going back for that. In the same way, if you can keep that positive stories about the impact that's being made, turning lemons into lemonade, finding ways for them to really feel like my small gift is a part of the entire like big thing, right? How many people have said, oh, I can't possibly make an impact, it's just little old me. When you're able to make the person that is only able to give you $10 feel just as important as that $1 million donor, you have arrived, right? You make them feel so good about what they did that they want to do more, that then it becomes their idea and they try to deepen that relationship. So by being able to connect with people, we're able to pull them along and help them to keep coming back for more, which ultimately fulfills that desire for them to be connected. And it helps us be able to do more for the world around us and our missions, right? Next slide, please. So let's move on to purpose. Okay, purpose. Human beings need to feel purpose and as though we are contributing to our tribe in order to feel good about ourselves. This is a huge one, right? If we don't have a purpose, if we can't feel that we are contributing to that, it's kind of what I just said, right? If I feel like, oh, my little gift doesn't matter, it doesn't make a difference, I can't possibly take a dent in that $50 million campaign, right? How can that be even possible? I don't feel that I have a purpose. If I haven't been connected purposefully, then I'm not going to continue to give, right? So our tribe provides volunteer opportunities, right? That gives purpose. Some people need to do, right? And I'd also argue that people go through very different seasons in life, right? Sometimes I have that need to do, and I won't have the time to do it. Even if I don't have the time to do it, I want to feel that purpose. Other times my purpose is just whipping out my checkbook and doing it and getting feel like I'm a part of that and it's not just a transaction, and I feel good about my purpose, that I was able to help that. So we've got to make every individual feel that we need them, that our mission needs them, and that our teams need them. So finding ways for people who want to volunteer to be able to do so is a really important piece to keeping that relationship moving forward. I did a philanthropy retreat earlier this week, actually, where we talked a lot about that. We talked about the fact that when you're recruited to serve on a philanthropy council, our hope is that you want to stay involved as long as we can help you feel fulfilled and as long as you feel like you're making a difference. But I was also saying, I recognize that that evolves over time. So you may be in an active solicitation role when you first start out. And then you may find that, wow, I feel like I've talked to everybody I know, which is never true. But if you feel that, that's your reality, right? Your perception is your reality. So if you're ready to move into a role where maybe stewardship and thanking and recognizing and sort of passing the baton on to someone else makes that meaningful to you, and you feel that you then have a renewed purpose and connection, that's going to make you want to stay a part of that organization for longer, right? So it's okay if that evolves over time. And I think that comes back to some of that connection and the communication that we talk about, right? So making sure that people feel valued and feel needed, and they're actually being productive in the space in which they have been asked to be involved, is a huge piece to that purpose, right? So our tribe provides funding opportunities, which is a purpose, right? We allow them to fulfill that need and that purpose by donating. And we let them know it wouldn't be possible without them, because it wouldn't. So sometimes it's doing and sometimes it's giving, and that can evolve over time. And there can be pieces to that to give and take as you move through your life cycle as a donor. So let's make sure we're tapping into that purpose and we're connecting with people in the way that they feel purposeful. Next slide, please. Acceptance. This is a big one, right? If my contribution is accepted, they will accept and support me, right? The literal contribution is money. Other contributions are time, talent, and those connections, right? But we all want to be accepted. Again, whether or not we believe it or know it or admit it to ourselves, people want to be accepted. So if I make a gift and I join the tribe, I now am a part of something. People are accepting me, and that is a huge thing. One of the things Jake talked about in his psychology of giving piece that I really liked was using certain adjectives for your marketing of your projects and of your programs, because people want to be a part of that, right? So there were things like kind, friendly, compassionate, caring, generous, honest. We might like to think that we are those things. So if we give to an organization that describes their philanthropy and their project and their program and their do good world as those things, we think then we can associate with that, and that means we are that way as well. So that kind of ties into that acceptance. So as we're doing our, case for support, our marketing materials, our scripting, using words like those will attract people because they want to believe that they are like that. And so by them connecting with us, we are accepting them as such. So just a little tidbit on some of those words. I'll repeat them again. Kind, compassionate, friendly, caring, generous, honest.
And those are from a Black Box survey where they scanned thousands and thousands of reports and articles and data to find the words that people most wanted to describe themselves with. Like, these are the adjectives that people in general most want to be. So we're like, great, we're just going to put those in our market materials so that they want to be all the top 9, 10 things that we are. So it's just kind of a way to, like, these words already associate in that way. So we're just going to use that to kind of bolster our materials in that same way.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. And with that, I'm actually going to hand it over to you for the next slide.
Oh, good. I jumped the gun. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Thank you for that appreciation.
All right, let's talk about communication, the next letter in the acronym. So communication is kind of the ongoing back and forth. You think, okay, people want to connect. What does connection look like? 9 times out of 10, it's just being heard from or being heard, one of the two. So either they feel like they're giving feedback or sending information that they seem to see that you are receiving and understanding and listening to correctly, or you are giving them information. We know that there's a lot of things we can do in terms of recognition. The reality of recognition is it's not actually for the donor. It's for us to draw attention to the program. When we put someone's name on something, we do a bunch of stuff on a website. We send out our annual report. Sure, that's great. And we want to check that box and people are happy to see their own name on things. But really, it's just for us to wave a flag and say, look at all the good we're doing. Look at all the money we've raised. Look at how much we're doing in the world. So the recognition is really more for the organization than it is for the donor, which is kind of backwards. But that's just the reality of how it works. Most of the time, that's less important to the donor than just having that open line of communication, that open relationship. If they give one time and they pledge something over multiple years, 2 or 3 years, and then all they get for those 2 or 3 years is a back and forth relationship. No more asks, no more, hey, can you do this? Can you give again? Another annual appeal, all these different things that we tend to ask people to do. They get really excited when they hear from us. Like, oh my gosh, I love when Marty calls me because she's always calling me to thank me or to give us some awesome project update or some of these people that we've served or tell me a cool story about something or invite me to lunch. I love it when Marty calls, so that 36 months later, when you ask, hey, would you consider, renewing your pledge for this next upcoming project that we have? They go, oh yeah, it's the deal. I love being a part of it. I love being associated with your organization. You do a wonderful job of keeping me informed. So you're having 30, 40 interactions sometimes with that person before you're even asking for money again. And that is an easy yes. We know that we can retain our donors very effectively that way. So communication is all of that. Those are all those touch points. It's just communication. Conveys purpose of what we're doing. We're going to come back and say, you gave this money and specifically, here's what we accomplished with it. It highlights acceptance, the back and forth we talked about a minute ago, like they just want to be accepted. They're like, I want to be a part of this mission. I want to be associated with this brand. For us to go back with information, we don't have to do that. There's nothing that says that if they give a donation, we don't owe them anything. It's literally a donation. But if we're constantly giving that communication back, they go, oh my gosh, they really did accept me into their tribe, into their organization. It allows for that continuation of connection. It's the easiest, much easier than asking for money in most cases. A lot of times we get nervous about taking people on asks, but if you can take them to lunch just to kind of catch up and see how they're doing, that's a pretty easy hour of your life. And it's usually pretty pleasant on both ends. So it's much less energy draining. You don't have to prep for the meetings as much. It's a lot more comfortable and it gives you that continued connection. And it establishes your tribe as a unit. Like your nonprofit, your organization is only conceptual until you add the people into it. You have your organization, it's a brand, it's a logo, maybe it's a building, maybe it's not a building, but it only exists as an organization by the people who are in the organization. You think, well, what is my charity? Well, it's the people who work for it. It's the people who volunteer for it and the people who donate to it. So they want to be associated by giving. They're a part of that unit. They're a part of that tribe, and they're a part of that brand now just by giving that donation. And that's really what they want is by giving a donation, they're not saying I have too much money. I feel guilty about it. I need to get rid of it. It's, hey, I really like what y'all are doing as a charity and I want my name on that list. I want to be a part of that. I want to be excited about what you're doing. I want people to think of me when they think of you as well. So if we can communicate effectively and spread it out over a calendar year effectively, this can be a fairly not labor intensive or time intensive thing that we do. Stewardship is only a portion of what we're doing as fundraisers. We're always trying to get new donations. But if we can parse that out and kind of space it evenly over a year, we're going to be really, really effective in retaining those donors and even upselling and increasing donations. Most of our top level donors, our major gifts donors, are people who started with, kind of a trial gift. They give you $500 and they see how you respond, or they might get $500 to 5 or 6 charities and see how they respond. And if you're the best in town at stewardship and you're excited and you bring them along and invite them into the organization, they're going to look twice, and it makes the conversation much easier when you talk about a substantial gift later. We do want to keep in mind generational preferences. Obviously, there are people of all age ranges who give, and they prefer to receive information differently. So just parse that out. It's not a perfect formula. We had another session just on that, actually. And it's not a perfect formula. Like at age 45, people now don't prefer email, or they do prefer email, or they don't want to hear from the phone. It's kind of a generalized thing. There's people who are more inclined toward one way or the other, regardless of their age. But we can kind of see, like, the mail is here, the phone is here, the social media and the e-newsletter is kind of here. We can kind of get a general spectrum of this is where we spend time age range wise in terms of getting that information out. And the best way to know is just to listen and learn. If you have sending out these emails constantly and you're noticing that this segment of your email list never responds, never engages, never opens, maybe try sending that segment a physical mailing, or try calling them. If you're sending it to Gen Z millennials and they're not opening the email, maybe try on social media, see if you can get them to follow you on your Instagram, on your Facebook, on your Twitter, if you're still sticking around on Twitter after Elon Musk did his thing on it. So all of those things that you have to kind of segment those out and pace them out. You don't have to do them every day. You don't have to do them a lot, but just make sure they're kind of spaced evenly throughout the year, so your donors don't go more than 60, 90 days from hearing from you ever, hopefully. Communicating often. The way that we track this is have a pretty robust stewardship plan. Like it's almost like we have a whole tracking sheet for it. And we have, okay, here are our donors. We start with the highest dollar amount and work our way down and say, just like a gift acceptance policy, if they give at this level and up, they get the following communications throughout the year. We make sure those are very evenly spaced, and we work down as far as we possibly can. Can we interact every month with our $5, $10 donors? Probably not, but we can get pretty far. Like maybe we go 10,000 and up, get something every month or every other month, or maybe it's 50,000 and up, depending on what bandwidth you have with your staff and volunteers. But we want to put it on a calendar. We'll go in January with a lot of our clients, sit down and say, here's our stewardship plan for the year. We don't have to worry about, should I send her a birthday card, or should I call? How long has it been since I've talked to Mary? It's like, we already got it on the calendar. Any donor who does this, they're right in the stewardship plan. Even if they give in April, it's still a 12-month deal. So we know that they're going to get back around for the next year, so that we don't have to think about it. We could try to automate this as much as we possibly can. And we've also seen some of our clients be really successful with having a committee that just does this. We've all experienced the volunteers who are great community members, great connectors, but they won't ask for money. So we've creatively made some stewardship committees with those types of people before, when we have those pretty robust programs set out. And it's a great thing to do because they're doing what they want to do anyways, which is just talk to people and not ask for money. They're already doing that. So this is just a way to systemize that, make them feel empowered about what they're doing. And it also takes it off of your plate as a staff member, which is really important. We need to free up your time so you can go ask for new gifts. So just a couple of things that we do with our clients to make sure that we're getting those year-round things and make sure we're checking that stewardship box. It's an easy thing to forget, of course, but this kind of helps us not think about it so much and just automate it throughout the calendar year. So we talked a little about tribe. Again, just want to reiterate what Marty said. We are so hardwired to desire to be connected with someone, to belong in a group. I mean, literally, talking about 10,000 years ago, the people who formed groups and worked together to build shelters and gather food and hunt and stay warm and build fires survived. They lived longer. They had more offspring. So then their kids and their kids and their kids did the same thing. The ones who went off by themselves weren't as tribe oriented, did not live as long, did not have as many offspring. So over thousands of generations, we're slowly building into this, to our DNA, this desire to be connected. And we can totally tap into this psychological desire in giving. This is why people give. It is straight up the main reason that people donate to charities, because they want to be associated, connected, and a part of something. So we steer right into that and say, great, if you give to us, you will be associated, you will be connected, you're going to hear from us all the time, so that you're really excited about giving when we ask you that next time. So how do we develop the tribe of donors that want to join? We kind of build this initial network, and then they will also bring their peers, their people into the tribe too, when they realize that out of all the charities in town, we are by far the best at making our donors feel connected to our mission. And as our job as development professionals, we have to do this. We've got this. It's no problem. This is what we do. We connect people to missions. We connect people to people. So the skill set of how to do that is not even as much the question. It's just a matter of, can we check that box and make sure that we truly are doing that? So in being the best tribe, again, to recap, Keep them engaged as often as you can. Give them specific roles. This is for your volunteers, your donors, the ones who are giving time, talent, and treasure. Make sure that they have purpose towards what they're doing. The fastest way to get your volunteers to resign is for them to show up and feel like what they're doing doesn't matter or doesn't have purpose or isn't moving the needle. Make sure that you feel like there's progress. Even if the progress is slow, celebrate it. Make a big deal out of it. Make sure that they have that purpose. It's the same thing. You kind of go back to the evolution thing. Like if I feel like I'm a good hunter, and I can build shelters, or I'm really fast at building fires, I'm going to have other people who are excited about having me in their tribe. I have that purpose, that drive makes me feel like I belong and that I'm not going to get kicked out of the tribe. Same thing. They have to have purpose or they're going to leave. Make it both exclusive and inclusive. Exclusive in that if you are associated, if you're working, if you're donating, you're part of the club, you're part of the team. It's a big deal to be associated with our brand, but inclusive in that anyone can do that. Anyone who wants to give time, give money, give work, they are in the tribe. It's very easy to join the tribe, but you're only in the tribe if you give one or some combination of those things. So it feels exclusive, it feels private, it feels special because you're only giving when they're giving. But once they're in, they're really excited about it. Report back impact all the time. A lot of committee meetings, a lot of donor meetings. We always want to start with a story or someone that we've helped or just a fun thing. We all have these amazing stories that happen with our charities every single day with our organizations. Just share one on a one-on-one meeting, whether it's a group meeting, committee meeting. One of the best ways to start off. Some people call them like mission moments. There's all kinds of ways of doing it, but take the 3 minutes in the very beginning of the meeting or the 3 minutes when you're having coffee with that person and just say, hey, can I tell you a story about what your gift did? So we were able to do this really cool thing. And there's this really cool couple that came in and this is how we were and just go into the story. It's a wonderful way to bring that connection. And of course, bonus points. If you can both get all of them, you'll end up with money and advice. You'll have their connections to the community, their thoughts on who else can give. And of course, hopefully they're giving as well. So here is our challenge to you kind of as a way to wrap this up. Evaluate your current donors. So these are people who have already given to your organization. We're not talking necessarily about this as a way to capture new donations, but look at your recent donors, people who have given for the first time or have been giving for a long time, and just kind of go down the list of the C-PACT to see, am I checking these boxes? You know, it's good to do all of them. Am I doing some of them? How well am I doing them? And set yourself goals for this next upcoming year. We're almost to January, if you can believe it or not. Saying in 2023, here's how we're going to approach our stewardship. We're going to have a wonderful way to do this. You've probably heard set SMART goals before. It's an acronym. It's specific. So the goal is very dialed in, not like I'm going to run more in 2023, but I want to run 20 times per quarter in 2023. That's specific. Measurable. If we do this, can we see if we've done it or not? Like, can we track it? Is it possible to track? We use tracking sheets because it's very easy. You can input it. It's just an Excel sheet. Awesome way to do that. Is it attainable? Evaluate, like, how much time do we want to spend on stewardship? Is it 4 hours a week? What can we reasonably get done in 4 hours a week of stewardship? Be really realistic about it. I know people get excited and we're going to spend all this time on stewardship and they forget to ask for new gifts. So make sure we're doing that. Relevant. Make sure the things that you're doing are moving the needle. They are checking those boxes. And then of course the T is time bound. So we're saying we're going to accomplish this before 2024 or in the first 3 months of 2023, however you want to do it. And if you're stuck and you need a way to get started or you want one of those tracking sheets, feel free to ask your Pride Council member and we are happy to get you started. So that is our challenge to you. We love to inspire, but we also love to try to walk away with a little bit of tangible things you can actually apply to your program coming out of these forums. So that's what we got for you today. With that, I will turn it back over to Marty to close us out here.
Thank you, Jake. If you are not already, make sure you follow us on LinkedIn. We've got some great content that we're pushing out daily and lots and lots of very timely, relevant information, key takeaways, things that you can utilize. So there's that QR code up there and also the link. And hopefully would love to connect with you on LinkedIn.